Shalom, brothers and sisters. Grace, mercy, and peace be unto you from Yahuwah, our Father, and Yahusha. He is the Mashayah, the one that carries the burden of Yah, his voice, our high priest, soon coming king. Hear, O Yesharel, Yahuwah, our mighty one, he is one. This is Brother David coming to you again to bring you climate change or global warming. Have you been paying attention? All around the world, these fires are burning. In different places, there's drought. This used to be a river. Then we have places where there are hurricanes. Look, that's Florida. This hurricane is headed straight for my house. What do? There's nothing you can do. We have to figure out who is in control. And I can tell you right now, it is Yahuwah. Is man culpable in any way? Yes, he is. Fossil fuels, burning holes in the ozone layer. What about them cutting down the trees? The natural filter that Yah put upon the earth to filter out the CO2. So man has a hand in this also. Let's take a look at the definition. Climate change, Wikipedia, global warming, usually refers to human-induced warming of the Earth system. Yeah, fossil fuels, cutting down the trees. Whereas climate change can refer to natural. Natural means the sun is shining hotter than ever before. Or anthropogenic change. What does that mean? It's talking about human-induced warming of the Earth system. These two terms are often used interchangeably, so they put them together. Who controls the sun? Job, chapter 9, verses 4 to 7. When I was in Bible school, we had people that pronounced it Job, and we laughed. We said, wow, they don't know how to pronounce Job? Well, now we're in the time of enlightening. It's not Job, nor is it Job. Both were wrong. Here's the Hebrew script. Hebrew reads from right to left. Let me give you the letters. A, Ya, Wa, Ba. And there's the transliteration into English. Ayaub. 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 Not Job. Everything that they give you, I hope that you're noticing what I keep showing you hundreds and hundreds of times. They always take out the name of he who is seated upon the throne. Verse 4. He is wise in heart. I'm speaking of he who is seated upon the throne. His name is Yahuwah, and mighty in strength. Who have hardened himself against him and have prospered? I can answer that question. No one. Verse 5. He removes the mountains, and they don't know it. He overturns them in his anger. Verse 6. Which shaketh the earth out of her place, and the pillars thereof tremble. Verse 7. Which commandeth the sun. Let me stop. Let me read that again. He who is seated upon the throne, Yahuwah, commands the sun, and it won't rise. And he seals up the stars from the sinners. Who's in control? Men are destroying the earth right now. What did the Father do? He could have turned down the heat of the sun to compensate for them burning the ozone layer, but instead he turned it up. It's time for judgment. Soon he's coming to destroy all of those who destroyed the earth. Jasher, chapter 88, verses 59 to 61. There's the modern Hebrew script in the middle. Hebrew reads from right to left. What are the letters? Ha, Ya, Sh, Ra. Here's my transliteration. Ha, Ya, Shar. Ha, Ya, Shar. What do you see? Every time they take the name that is above all names out. Do you know one letter in Hebrew represents the name that is above all names, brothers and sisters? In ancient times, we used pictographs, and the first letter of the Most High's name was represented by an arm with an open hand. How would you pronounce that picture? Yah. Verse 59. And Joshua, his name is not Joshua, his name is Yahusha. You see, they would tell you in their spelling, Yad, He, Wa, Shin, An, but then they would pronounce it with an extra Y at the end. Yad, He, Wa, Shin, Wa, An. You understand? Because the people are not paying attention, nor are they checking on the Guyam. And Yahusha and all the fighting people went up from Gilgal. And Yahusha came suddenly to them and smote these 5 kings with a great slaughter. Let me give you some context. The children of Jasher had come into the land. They had crossed the Jordan. They had defeated many armies before them. The Father spoke to them and said, I'm going to give you Jericho. I've delivered it into your hands, Yahusha. Just make sure that you and your people don't take of any of the cursed things from that city. But the gold, the silver, and the bronze, bring it into my treasury. So Yahusha and his people utterly destroyed Jericho. But one of our brothers from the tribe of Yehuda, he decided to take of the cursed thing, and he put it in his tent. Next, they went to fight another battle against a small people, very small army, not powerful at all. And they spell it in the Bible as A and I, and they pronounce it I. When they went up against this people, they were defeated. They lost 36 men that day. And I sent them running home, licking their wounds. When he got back to the camp, Yahusha fell upon his hands and his knees. He ripped his clothes. And he prayed to the Most High. What happened? And the Most High told him, one of your people have taken of the cursed thing which I told you not to do. Yahusha went looking for that person. It came out to be one called Achan. He's the son of Carmi. And when he was brought before Yahusha, he confessed. He said, yes, he took of the cursed thing. He saw it, and he coveted it. And he buried it in his tent. They went, they dug it up, they brought it back to Yahusha. They also brought his daughters, his sons, his wife, all of his possessions, and they burnt them all with fire, while the people stoned Achan with many stones. Now you may see this as something that is violent, but they lost 36 men that day. Listen to me. 36 fathers. 36 families were left without a patriarch. Why? Because someone disobeyed the laws of the Most High. Every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yahuwah is divine law. The whole nation could not go forth. The whole nation lost battles, lost men, were embarrassed before the people of the land because one person transgressed the law. Are you not able to move forward? Could it be that you are coddling transgressors? You have to remove the cursed things from your home. So now they're here to fight another battle. And we start from verse 59. And Yahusha and all the fighting people went up before Gilgal, and Yahusha came suddenly to them and smote these 5 kings with a great slaughter. Verse 60. And Yahuwah confounded them, he confused them before the children of Jasher, who smote them with a terrible slaughter in Gibeon, and pursued them along the way that goes up to Beth Horon and Makkedah, and they fled from before the children of Jasher. Verse 61. And whilst they were fleeing, Yahuwah sent upon them hailstones from heaven, and more of them died by the hailstones than by the slaughter of the children of Yasharel. Do you want the Most High to fight your battles? Make sure that you do not take of the cursed thing, nor allow anyone to keep you from moving forward in your house because they have partaken of the cursed thing. Verse 62. And the children of Jasher pursued them, and they still smote them in the road, going on and smiting them. Verse 63. And while they were smiting, the day was declining towards the evening. And Yahusha said in the sight of all the people, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and you, moon, in the valley of Ayalon, until the nation shall have revenged itself upon its enemies. This is a man speaking to the sun. Verse 64. And Yahuwah hearkened to the voice of Yahusha. And Yahuwah listened to the voice of Yahusha. Look what happened. And the sun stood still in the midst of the heavens. And it stood still 6 and 30 moments, 6 hours and 30 minutes. And the moon also stood still and hastened not to go down a whole day. Who is in control? Yahuwah. Look what he does for those who keep his commandments. Remember something. The ones who took the curse thing, the ones who transgressed the law, were burnt with fire and stoned to death. After that, Yah stepped in and fought their battle. He used the elements, the sun. He gave them light so that they can destroy their enemies. Verse 65, and there was no day like that, before it or after it, that Yahuwah hearkened to the voice of a man, for Yahuwah fought for Yisharu. If you want him to fight for you, you have to unconditionally surrender. And you know, people will hold you back from where you're supposed to be. In my household, it's only me and my wife. Everyone who has come here was told the same thing. You have to keep these commandments. You have to keep the Sabbath, which changes. There's no leaning to the right, no leaning to the left, or you can't be here. That's why we have no one here. But if you want your battles to be fought for you, man, you have to cleanse yourself and your house. Now, this has never happened again until Yahusha comes. Joel, chapter 3, verses 14 to 16. There's the modern Hebrew script. Hebrew reads from right to left. What are the letters? Yah, Wah, Ah, La. There's my transliteration. Yah, Wall. Yah, Wall. You see the U and the A? The U represents the Wah in Hebrew. It's a new sound. And when you put an A next to it, it makes a Wah sound. And then you have the Lamed at the end, L, Wall. Yahweh. Here we go again. They always take the name that is above all names out of every name of our brothers and sisters. Verse 14. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision. For the day of Yahuwah is near in the valley of decision. We're talking about what's coming next. Verse 15. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. This is the day of Yahusha. You see, the one that we read about before that is called Joshua was a prototype, a type, portrait, figure of what the Mashayah was going to do in the last days. Yeah. Remember, the sun is going to be darkened and the moon is not going to give its light. I've heard some people say something about 3 days of darkness or 3 days and 3 nights of darkness. I have not seen that. Look in verse 14 though. For the day, that's one day, 24 hours, 24-hour period of Yahuwah is near. Verse 16. Yahuwah also shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Yerushalayim, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. But Yahuwah will be the hope of his people. Who did he say his people were? and listen to the statement after he identified them. And no one else. And the strength of the children of Jasher. They have been identified. He will fight our battles for us. He will destroy all of his and our enemies. Your job is to keep these commandments. Don't play with this thing. Do not get caught with your pants down. It's going to be horrible for you. You'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth. The fear will overtake you because you knew what you were supposed to do, but yet you continued to carry on just like one of the heathen in this country. Matthew chapter 24, verses 29 to 31. There's the Hebrew script. There's my transliteration. What are the letters? Ma, ta, ya, ha, wa. Matat, Yahu. I'm showing you something, brothers and sisters. Why do you think that I went through all of this work to show you the letters and to break it down for you, to get you ready for what was coming next? To show you that the Europeans have destroyed the name of our Father and replaced him with gods of wood and stone. Look at the end of his name, Yahu. We were named after him. Even on the slave ship manifest, I showed you us coming over here. Without even knowing, we've named our children, like my daughter's name, Ayana. We didn't know anything about Yah at that time. But we were naming our children for what we call before African names. But these are Shemitic names, which they deleted because it does not apply to the colonizers or the thieves who stole this book and then tried to make it their own. Verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days. After or before? After. You have to go through this tribulation period. Gives you a chance to get yourself together. The sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. And the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Who's speaking here? Yahusha. He's telling you the same thing that we heard from the prophet. Who controls the sun and the moon? Yahuwah. It's his timepiece. The sun also gives warming to the earth, makes the plants grow. The moon, it keeps the earth stable. You can move the moon in a little direction and you can cause earthquakes, floods in diverse places. Who controls them? Yahuwah. Verse 30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then all the tribes of the earth shall mourn. Why would they mourn? They're going to look upon him whom they pierce. They're not going to see any guy with albinoid skin. He's going to be black or brown, crayon black or brown. And they're going to mourn. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with power and great glory. He's coming in great chariots, great ships, absolute power. Verse 31. And he, daudbenyashayahu, Yahusha, shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet for all of those who keep the commandments and love his name. Listen for that sound. And they, who is they? The angels, should gather together his elect. In the New Testament, they put elect to cover up the children of Jasher. There's only one group of people that he chose. There's only one group of people who suffered the consequences for transgression of the law. There's only one group of people who are of this remnant. It's a bloodline that shall return. It's the children of Jasher and no one else. From the four winds, from one end of heaven to another, who was scattered to all the nations of this earth. First, the northern kingdom. They were dispersed in Egypt, Pathros, Cush, and the islands of the sea in Europe. Then came Yahuda's turn. We were brought around the world in ships. This is unmistakable. You can't mistake this. It's not the Jews. It's not the church. It's none of these people. It's his people, the children of Jasher. Why did we go through all of this? Because we dropped the ball. We went serving gods of wood and stone. We turned our backs on our master. And we took of the unclean things, still partaking of these unclean things, like pork and shellfish. There's about 2 billion Christians in this world today, and they're eating pork and shellfish and worshiping and serving false gods. Jesus, who is the Christ. Christ is dangerous. Jehovah, God, Lord, Adonai, every other name, but the name that is above all names, we worship. Here's the thing. You shall be gathered too. And you'll be brought back into the land, into the wilderness. He's going to plead with you. He's going to separate the righteous, the ones who have kept his commandments, from the rebels, the ones who said we're not going to that new stuff. This is not new stuff. This is the old ways. You're the one following this new stuff that the Goyim, the Gentiles, the cavemen created. Henuk, chapter 80. There's the Hebrew script. What are the letters? He, na, wa, ka. Henuk. Some of you say Kanuk or Chanuk. If you use CH in the beginning of his name, you're following the Jews. It's not your language. It's a German dialect. All you have to do is look on the chart. This letter Het is HH. Then you go to the modern, where they have ch or CH. Then they tell you that the letter is HH. Then you go to every other, the Greek and Romans or the Latin, H. But yet you want to follow the Jews. This is why I'm teaching this now. Because it seems there's been a deficiency in the teaching of our alphabet and how to pronounce these names. Here is the difference between us and them. If we find that we have made an error, we know how to correct our error in public because we made it in public. We're not like the Guyam. When they make an error, they stick to it and double down on it. If you do that, you have the same spirit as these demons and devils. Verse 1. And in those days, the angel Urayael answered and said to me, Behold, I have shown you everything, Henuk, and I have revealed everything to you that thou should see this sun and this moon and the leaders of the stars of the heaven and all those who turn them, their task and times and departures. Note, there are those who are turning or working these megastructures. These are megastructures, brothers and sisters. They've been created by the master of the universe. Something that we don't understand. But he told us, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard of the things that Yah has prepared for those who love him. He showed these things to Henuk and took him up in the sky to see these things. He observed them as they were doing their work. Verse 2. And in the days of the sinners. Are we in the days of the sinners today? Sin is transgression of the law. Our people are transgressing the law, especially the ones who say that they keep the law, because they keep a Saturday Sabbath. That's the Guyam. Has nothing to do with Yah. That's their days. The Saturday Sabbath is Saturn's day. It's fixed every Saturday. Or you keep the Sunday Sabbath. The Sunday Sabbath is the sun's day for those who worship the sun. The Father has given you the sun and the moon to give you time. Not to worship them, but to follow him. If he changes the time and you stay on it, you are still on Yah's time. It's the only one that can make an adjustment. And their seed shall be tardy in the lands and the fields. We know that to be true, don't we? What did the Guyam or the Jews tell us in 2019? The barley harvest wasn't ripe. Here's your proof right here that these are the days of the sinners. And all things on the earth shall alter, have they? You saw in the beginning, the fires are everywhere, droughts in diverse places. Some places are flooded out. And then we got these hurricanes and these storms, and they're destroying whole nations. And shall not appear in their time. And the rain shall be kept back. Look at the promised land. It's a desert. They have dust storms there. They're using the water that's under the earth for irrigation. That's how they're still alive today. And the heaven shall withhold it. Under whose command? did the heavens hold back the rain? Yahuwah. He can make the rain flow on one field, and right next door, the transgressors, or the ones who have the cursed thing, or the cursed people in their house, there will be no rain. Verse 3. And in those times the fruit of the earth shall be backwards, and shall not grow in their time. So the Jews decided that we have to manipulate time. Let's move it forward, give ourselves another month, and maybe the barley harvest will be ripe. And I've asked this question repeatedly to all of these so-called scholars on the internet, and to the rabbis, and to everyone who I can speak to. Could you show me the statute that is in the book that tells you to make an adjustment to the calendar if a barley harvest is not ripe? Or if the moon moves away from the sun in the amount of 10 days, 20 days, 30 days, 40 days, 50 days, 60 days, 70 days, or even 80 days. Show me the statute where you are to make an adjustment. What do you think that I hear? Crickets. 5 years of preaching and teaching, and over 1 million people have come to this channel to glean from me. And yet no one has answered that question? The reason they haven't answered it, because there is no statute. There is no law. There's even nothing in the Bible to tell you to do that. Do you hear me? Men are altering time to try to keep up with the lunar and the solar body. Verse 4. And the moon shall alter her order and not appear at her time. You see the next chapter 5? It's in parentheses, which means that this was added. So this is more or less like a commentary. And in those days the sun shall be seen, and shall journey in the evening on the extremity of the great chariot in the west. All right, this is the part that is in the Bible. And shall shine more brightly than accords with the order of light. So the one that's in the parentheses is true. I observe the heavenly bodies, the sun, the moon, and the stars. When the sun goes to the west, it is hotter than ever before. You can't even be outside at this time. We live in Florida. Hey, Princess Maya, you know what I'm talking about. We live in Florida. When the sun goes into the west and is shining brighter, it heats up. And then what happens? Thunderstorms. Begins to rain to try to cool down the earth. So we're in this time, the day of the sinners. Henuk is telling us that this sun is going to shine more brightly than he accords with the order of light. Because it was changed by the Most High. He turned up the heat. When will all of this be corrected? When the Mashiach returns. What's going to happen when the Mashiach returns? The sun shall be darkened, turned off, and the moon shall not give its light. Turned off. Now, I'm an IT person. I'm asked questions all day long and have to fix other people's problems. Do you know that sometimes when a computer has a problem, it's not functioning the way it's supposed to function, what do? Reboot. when the Messiah returns, there's going to be a reboot. And everything shall be put back in order. And the promised land, our land, the land that you're turning down by transgressing the law, shall be a Garden of Eden. And all of those who have transgressed the law shall be thrown into the lake of fire. This is your choice. Choose life or choose death. The ball is in your court. Peace be unto you.